There's a fair amount of drugs, marijuana, magic mushrooms, cocaine. I mean, that's going to surprise people.
But important to acknowledge.
You write in the book about psychedelics, ayahuasca, psilocybin, mushrooms.
I would never recommend people to do this recreationally, but doing it with the right people, if you are suffering from a huge amount of loss, grief, or trauma, then these things have a way of working as a medicine.
Prince Harry's candid admissions of past drug use in interviews and in his memoir, Spare, have placed him on the radar of US immigration law. The Biden administration, through the Department of Homeland Security, have been accused of protecting Harry by keeping his immigration records private. The Heritage Foundation, a conservative think tank, has been advocating for the release of these records to ensure that immigration policies were applied fairly and squarely. And now Judge Carl Nichols of the U.S. District Court of Columbia has expressed a willingness to disclose the maximum possible portions of Harry's immigration documents. Will Prince Harry be deported? At the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic, Prince Harry, his wife Meghan, and their young son embarked on a new life in the US. Having stepped back from their prominent roles as senior royals. Freshly independent, they were at the peak of their popularity, which opened doors to numerous opportunities for their financial freedom. As they settled into establishing a family life in California, they fervently embraced media projects and philanthropic endeavors. In this newfound freedom and ecstasy, Harry perhaps became a bit too open, sharing more than he should have. With the release of his memoir, Spare, he might have navigated past revelations about family conflicts, early sexual encounters, and his time serving in Afghanistan. It was his admission of past drug use, particularly psychedelics and cocaine, that has had lasting repercussions and continues to affect him today. These explosive revelations prompted questions about the accuracy of his disclosures on US immigration forms. As visa applications typically inquire about an applicant's history with drug use. In response to these concerns, the Heritage Foundation, based in Washington, D.C., filed a Freedom of Information Act request, seeking the release of Prince Harry's visa records. The foundation aimed to determine whether the Duke had been forthright in his application and if he had received any preferential treatment during the immigration process. The Department of Homeland Security denied the Freedom of Information request, citing privacy considerations. Undeterred, the Heritage Foundation escalated the matter by filing a lawsuit against the Department of Homeland Security, arguing that the public had a right to know whether immigration laws were applied consistently regardless of an individual's status or notoriety. In June 2023, U.S. District Judge Carl J. Nichols began hearing arguments in the case. The Heritage Foundation contended that Prince Harry's public admissions of drug use, combined with the widespread media coverage, justified the release of his immigration records. Conversely, the Department of Homeland Security maintained that visa records are confidential and disclosing them would constitute an unwarranted invasion of privacy. And by September 2024, Judge Nichols ruled that Prince Harry's visa application should remain private, stating that the public does not have a strong interest in the disclosure of the Duke's immigration records, while emphasizing that, like any foreign national, Prince Harry had a legitimate privacy interest in his immigration status. Despite this ruling, the foundation continued to press for transparency. However, in early 2025, the case has seen renewed attention, as Judge Nichols indicated a potential to reconsider his previous decision. Acknowledging procedural issues raised by the foundation, he stated that he would likely order the release of some of Prince Harry's records, saying, "To the maximum extent possible, I'm required to make public everything that can be made public." As the legal battle continues, President Trump has also weighed in on the controversy. On February 16th, he addressed the issue directly, stating that he was reconsidering whether Prince Harry should remain in the United States if it is found that he lied on his visa application. He said, "We'll have to see if the Department of Homeland Security knows something about the drugs, and if he lied, they will have to take appropriate action." Although President Trump confirmed he had no plans to deport Harry, legal experts noted that if it were proven he had falsified his visa application, he could still be subject to prosecution or deportation under U.S. immigration law. On the other hand, royal experts have speculated on the potential implications of Prince Harry's immigration status. Some suggest that King Charles might prefer his son remains in the US, as it keeps potentially distracting issues at a distance from the royal family. Others note that public opinion in the UK towards the Sussexes has soured, making their return unlikely. Up until now, the legal battle over Harry's visa records remains unresolved as the case continues to spark debates about privacy rights, the equitable application of immigration laws, and the influence of public figures on legal processes. With Judge Nichols promising to make public as much information as legally possible, and President Trump leaving the door open for potential legal action, Harry's US residency remains a topic of public interest.